It was getting to the point where I was like, I want to grow this, but my blocker is cash. Banks aren't going to lend me money. I'm too risky. I'm an e-commerce business with no kind of proof of sales yet.
I heard you mention you turned off paid ads.
We'd been scared to do it previously, but do you know what? Who scared us out of doing it was paid ad agencies.
Today on the Unofficial Shopify podcast, I'm your host, Kurt Elster, and we're going to hear about the sock that launched an agency side hustle. No, the sock that saved turtles. No, you know what? We're going to let our guest today, Lucy Jeffrey, explain it to me, because somehow she went from banker to e-commerce store owner to Faire wholesale expert. There's quite a lot to unpack here and some good learnings. So we're going to hear those from her. And really, when you have a seasonal product, that's so difficult. There's another problem she's had to solve. And so, Lucy, thank you for joining me. Let's get into it. Where are you located?
Currently in London. Thank you so much for having me. It sounds quite wild hearing all of that playback. It's a bit of a topsy-turvy journey for sure.
So, okay, tell me where we started in this journey.
Yeah, so I was in banking. So I'd graduated university, joined a grad scheme at HSBC, and was just in a standard kind of corporate job that was fine. It was a steady salary, but it wasn't really lighting any fires underneath me. So I'd actually started Bare Kind, my e-commerce business, as a bit of a side hustle, never really thinking it would go anywhere. But at the time of me starting it, there was a big wave of people trying to reduce single-use plastic, and I was like leaning into that. So my very first product was actually reusable stainless steel straws. I'd seen a friend whip one out of her bag in a bar and just thought, oh, that's weird. What are you doing? You've got a metal straw in your bag. And then they became a bit of a trend after that. And I jumped on that trend right at the start. Began with drop shipping, kind of all different beautiful colors of straws, and moved into a few other products that I dabbled with, but nothing really took off. Things like reusable tote bags and T-shirts made out of plastic bottles and things. And the socks came later because there was a video going around the internet of a sea turtle with a straw stuck up his nose. Quite traumatic. But because of that, turtles became a bit of a mascot because we were all about just reducing the amount of plastic going into the ocean, harming these animals. And I wanted to give back to the turtles in another way. So I formed a partnership with the Turtle Foundation. And the idea was being that I'd do a profit donation model back to the charity, back to the turtles. But the straws, there was still quite a tenuous link. So I actually thought, right, I'll bring out a product with turtles on it. Started with socks purely because I was like, this is, a fun, funky product that I can make colourful with cute little animals on it. I don't have any kind of background in fashion, so I wasn't going to go too heavy down any other kind of clothing route. And it was just turtles to start with. So that was my original sock that my customers loved, and then started demanding other animals. And we've kind of grown since then. So that was nearly 7 years ago now. We've got nearly 100 different designs now.
These are bamboo socks, and the site is Bare Kind, barekind.com, and that's on Shopify?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're on Shopify, have been since the beginning. So it started off drop shipping straws, then it moved into, I held the kind of products myself, and now we've got, numerous different manufacturers. We ship out of the UK, and turtles are still a strong seller. They were my original sock, but we still have them. They're still a very good seller for us.
So as you went from drop shipping straws, then into selling these socks. What's the moment where you realize, hey, this could be a full-time gig?
Yeah, so 2018 was when I started the company. It wasn't until a couple of years later, so smack bang in the middle of COVID, we're all working from home. And I had a bunch of stock that I wasn't really sure what to do with. So I had about 5 designs at that point, between 5 and 10 designs. And I actually wasn't sure where to take the company at that point. The world had just kind of blown up in our faces. And people were having existential crises. And I was like, do I want to stay at work? Do I want to work for a charity? I have no idea. And so I thought, right, I'll just take out a small loan, chuck it into Facebook ads, just see if I can clear through the stock and then make a decision. I could have gone either way, close down the business or not. However, it just took off. Like I sold out of all of my stock within like a month. So it's the most I'd ever sold. And to give context, it's not much. I honestly think it was like £5,000 like in a single month, which doesn't sound like much, but honestly, that shows how tiny the business was at that point. And I just thought, okay, well, I do actually think I'm onto something here, that I've managed to sell through that stock like pretty rapidly. So I quit my job. That was at the end of November. So we were about to go into another lockdown for Christmas here in the UK. And yeah, I handed my notice in, and that was now over 4 years ago.
So once you start selling these bamboo socks full time, what's the next hurdle we run into?
Always cash flow with a product-based e-commerce business. Like the next year, so 2021, I actually went to my university and got a grant and then some investment. Actually, they're quite a good university in the fact that they have this kind of like accelerator for students and alumni as well. So I went to them for money because it was getting to the point where I was like, I want to grow this, but my blocker is cash. Banks aren't going to lend me money. I'm too risky. I'm an e-commerce business with no kind of really good, strong proof of sales yet. So I had that opportunity. So without that, I think it would have been a much slower growth curve. But again, each year, and as we'll get into, I'm a super, super seasonal business towards Christmas. So naturally, it is quite hard to manage that balance of I need to get stock in for Christmas, and then I have a really good Christmas, and then the money like slowly goes down and down and down until the next Christmas. But it's, it's summertime really here that I need to be paying for my Christmas order. So it's managing that balance is tricky.
So in a business like that, I feel for seasonal businesses. I spent many years working in a bike shop where it's like, we do everything in 3 months of the summer. How do you survive the other 9 months?
So our B2B channel is kind of what keeps us going through the rest of the year. So we've done pretty well on a marketplace called Faire that entered the UK in 2021. And we were kind of one of the earliest brands onto that platform where we just had a lot of growth in that space. So we're finding a lot of like independent retailers who own their own gift shops. Might be small chains, but it tends to be those kind of indie gifting retailers that really liked our product. And they do stock us through the year. And I think their sales are still seasonal because socks sell well at Christmas, but they're a bit more consistent because they've got customers going in, they've got that footfall. It's a £10 per pair product. So it's quite an easy add-on for, at the till. So our retailers do really well consistently through the year. So we have that consistent channel, but it's still hard work kind of managing that seasonality. And that's again why, and we'll get into it, is why the agency came about, because it is about kind of managing that cash flow and realizing, well, we almost need another revenue stream to kickstart us into the Christmas season and balancing that.
Faire is this B2B marketplace, and they've got an official sales channel and integration with Shopify that works nicely. And you're not the first Shopify merchant who has told me like, wow, Faire has been really great for our business. Tell me a little bit about Faire from your position as Shopify merchant, how it works.
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, it's a marketplace. So I liken it to Etsy, but for B2B. So it's independent brands like mine looking for independent retailers. So you're not going into huge chain stores. It tends to be a business owner communicating with a business owner, and they want to stock your product. So they can go on, and it's a huge marketplace, loads of products. We link through our Shopify. So that means that we can pull all of our product listings into Faire. So, basically the work's been done for us, and then we just pull it across, some optimizations to change it kind of for B2B. But at least most of the work's been done. All of product photography pulls across as well. The other thing that we like about it pulling into Shopify is orders will also pull across into Shopify if you want. And the reason we want that is because all of our Shopify orders get automatically pulled to our 3PL warehouse. So everything's like happening automatically in the background. It's all synced up. So rather than previously, we'd have manual orders. So someone would come to us on email saying, hey, I want to order this, this, and this. By the time we get to them, especially at Christmas when things are moving quite fast, we have to turn around and say, great, we want to put this order through, but this stock level is now gone and this and that. So it just removes all of that friction, and they can just shop 24/7 whenever they want. They don't even need to talk to us realistically. They can just shop and that's it. It's done. So it's been a massive game changer for us.
So really, you plug it in, And provided people can find you and want what you're selling, you're making these higher volume orders. So in theory, by getting on, we're adding this B2B wholesale marketplace. Now we're able to sell, into a new channel. Ideally, these become recurring orders, right? If I buy your product, it sells in my store, I'm going to come back and buy more. So these are fairly ideal customers, it seems.
Absolutely, especially because a big problem for us is our AOV on B2C is about £30. Which is quite low, especially when you look at our cost per acquisition on Facebook ads is like £12, or it was last year anyway. So there's, we don't have a huge amount of margin to play with, really. Whereas on B2B, although Faire do take a commission, unless it's our customer that we have bought to the platform ourselves, they take a commission. And then yes, those customers are just spending more per order. So the cost of everything is just spread out. So the cost of the shipping, the cost of our fulfillment, pricing, and then obviously, hopefully they become a returning customer. And we have got a lot of customers that have been with us for 3 or 4 years now. So the lifetime value of those customers is really, really good.
Wow. All right. I like this, but how does that solve our seasonality problem?
Yeah, so other than the fact that it's a bit more of a consistent revenue stream. So actually Q1 to Q3, our split of D2C B2B, we're about 70% B2B. So it's quite a strong channel throughout the year. That completely changes by the time you get to the end, you've got the whole calendar year. It changes completely the other way and goes almost back to 70% D2C, which just goes to show like how strong our own website is in Q4. But it's that revenue stream we're getting from B2B is really important for us through the year. But that leads me on to why we ended up starting this agency kind of almost by accident. So really what we were doing was sharing content about Faire and about our socks to try and get more people to buy our socks. So our target was actually, hey, retailers in the UK, this is what Faire is. This is how it works and you should buy from us. And we were putting those on YouTube. And we started naturally getting more people come to us and ask us about Faire because brands asking us about Faire. So brands like us saying, oh, I can see you're doing well on Faire. Like, should I be using it? Because people just didn't know what it was or how it worked. They hear the kind of headline commission and think it's way too steep. And so they kind of coming to us asking us for advice purely because we were very early to using Faire search keyword terms on YouTube, basically. So I then started sharing advice for brands on YouTube. So it was just kind of me coming on camera and saying, hey, we've done really well on Faire. This is what we're doing. This is what we're up to at the moment. Try zero MOQ, try this in your emails, try this. And people started really resonating with it because not many people were sharing this kind of advice. We've been very, very open and honest with everything that has and hasn't worked for us. We're very open with our numbers as well. So we'll tell them, the revenue that we've got per channel and things. And as a result, we started realizing that this actually could be an income stream for us. So we started selling a digital course and then digital templates to help with Faire. And then people started asking us to run their Faire accounts for them. And then suddenly we had clients paying us to do that. And I was like, well, this is an agency that we've just kind of made out of nowhere. But it is also a very consistent revenue stream. And as a product business owner looking at a service business, I was like, wow, look at all this profit margin. So it's very tempting when you look at it from that point of view, but obviously it is also a lot of work.
Ultimately, you are running two very different yet similar overlapping businesses. What's it like, managing these two separate businesses?
Yeah, it can be difficult. So, I mean, me and my husband, we run both businesses together. So the division of roles is very important for us. So, what we're both responsible for, and it can be difficult. We're being very clear with each other on our direction on both. So we know that at the moment we're in off season, as it were, for Bearkind, although we're planning our Christmas order right now to get all our stock in. We know we're in off season. So actually we've slowed down a lot of things on Bearkind. We've actually turned our advertising off to reduce kind of costs in that side of the business. We've reduced our emails. So we're kind of going quieter on that because we've spent a good few years trying to make Bearkind a thing in off season, and it's been very hard work. We're really in a hamster wheel. So we're kind of leaning towards doing more on the agency at the moment, knowing that probably when it comes up to Q4, our thought processes will probably reduce down, if not stop, acquisition on the agency and just keep our current clients and just deliver Q4 for everyone, including Bearkind, because obviously for all of our clients as product brands, Q4 is huge.
I heard you mention you turned off paid ads. What has
Yeah.
been... We had a brand last summer who turned off their ads, and things really didn't change particularly. We were quite surprised by this. So what was for you, what happened when you turned off paid ads? And by paid, we're talking about Meta, right?
Yeah, Meta. I think we still have a little bit of a trickle on Google, but not a huge spend. But yeah, Meta, we just completely switched off. We'd been scared to do it previously, but do you know what? Who scared us out of doing it was paid ad agencies. So obviously they have a reason to not.
They don't have any bias here.
So yeah, they'd kind of said, no, you have to keep it going because it feeds things and, all of that rubbish. And to be honest, we got to the end of last year on Bearkind. We hadn't quite hit the targets we wanted to for the year. So we had to kind of make some drastic changes. So again, that was another reason to kind of go full steam ahead on Candid Founders. We started looking at like where we can shuffle the team around a bit. And we removed our marketing agency at the time. So we had been working with an agency during that kind of Q4 period. They were very good, but we were like, we're not getting that AOV we want. This isn't working. So we just decided, let's just switch them off. We need to kind of go back to basics here and see where we go. Amazingly, we're up revenue-wise. Therefore, we are up profit-wise as well. So
see,
we're
again,
like,
the trick to making more money is just to stop spending ads on Meta.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was
it's
like,
happened more than once now.
Yeah, come on. I think someone is lying to us out there. We will probably turn them back on like just before Christmas. We've got some ads that we know work really well for us that have got great ROAS, but only in Q4. So we're like, there's just no point in having them on at this time of the year. We're not a huge brand. So realistically, we don't have deep enough pockets to just let ads kind of trickle over and not be profitable. We actually need to be profit first and like really focused on that. So yes, well, one thing is growing sales. Another thing is reducing cost. So we're actually doing much better this year than we thought we would.
What advice do you give to brands now who are considering Faire?
If you're considering it and not sure whether to do it, I'd always just say give it a try because you're not really going to lose much. I think so. The Faire's model, their commission model, it makes it sound really expensive, like upfront. So basically, the marketplace, if they find you a customer through their algorithm, so someone who'd not come across you before, they find you on Faire, they purchase your products. First order is 25% commission. If they reorder, it's 15% commission. But there is another bucket where if you bring a customer, so if you find someone, whether at a trade show or you've approached them online, you bring them into the platform and you sell through like your link or QR code or whatever, however you choose to do it, 0% commission. So actually over time, and we've built a nice shiny tool that like basically downloads all your Faire data and then analyzes your customer spend and all of this, and also your kind of actual commission rate. Ours is sitting at about 10% total. Not 25% that you kind of that headline figure that you hear and get scared of. And 2, it is an algorithm, so learn how to play the game. You do have to put work and do SEO optimization and actually use the platform and message your customers through it. So I just really recommend actually like going in and thinking, what are you going to do? What work are you going to do for your brand? If you're lucky enough to have someone in your team to run the account for you, there's actually so many kind of micro optimizations you can make. And that's where I'd really recommend looking at our YouTube. We've got loads of guidance on there on how to do it for yourself. You don't even need to come to us directly. Just go to the YouTube, which is Candid Founders, and there's loads of advice on there.
Yeah, in the show notes, I will include your Candid Founders YouTube channel, Candid Founders website, a couple links for Faire Wholesale on Shopify, and of course Bearkind, where we can get sweet bamboo turtle socks.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Lucy Jeffrey, any place else people should connect with you?
Do reach out on LinkedIn. Yeah, if you've listened to this podcast and want to chat about anything, I'm very active on LinkedIn. But yeah, it's mainly YouTube really. This is where I'm like putting most of my content. So please do check it out if you're on Faire and struggling with it or think you don't have the bandwidth for it, but see it as an opportunity, which I really think it is. Reach out to us. We'd be happy to help.
Wonderful. And you know what? I added your LinkedIn to the show notes, and I connected with you.
Amazing.
So we're now
Good job.
LinkedIn friends. Lucy Jeffrey, Bear Kind, Candid Founders, thank you so much. This has been great.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.